Grand Risings. I hope you're having a blessed day. As you can see, we're out on, well, I wouldn't really say location, it's a field by my house. But we're out and about today. And it's, for a field, it's quite nice. We've got lots of dragonflies and different birds, and there's buzzards flying overhead, so, it's quite pleasant. But we are quite near a main road, and like a work plant somewhere over that way behind these trees. So it might get a little bit noisy. And yeah, Athena's in a playful mood today and being quite annoying, so she might get in the way. There might be some cuts as like I try to move her out of the way, or she wanders off and I have to restrain her. But yeah, I'm very aware that there has been quite a while since I last posted a talkie video or whatever video. And I suppose that's what I want to talk about today. And I am very aware of the irony of posting this video on YouTube, considering that the subject matter that I'm going to be talking about. So before anybody comments about that, I am going to put a disclaimer down here. I'm going to say the disclaimer. I'm going to put it in the description box, and I'm probably going to put it in the pinned comments as well. I am very aware of the irony of posting this video on YouTube. Okay? And I want to talk about really the reason why I've been absent from YouTube and why I've not been posting, why I've kind of been quiet, and what happened that sort of initiated that self-reflection space that I've been in recently. And it was in Italy, so you might have seen that about a month ago, I think, me and my two youngest, we were in Italy. We went for a week away, and something happened that was just really bizarre. It was really bizarre. I didn't know how to act in the moment. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know how to feel. Didn't know what to do. And it kind of led me to sort of just take a step back from making videos. And so what happened was, and in no way, shape or form am I like sort of seeking advice on what I should have done or what I shouldn't have done, or whether what I did was the right thing, because what I did was what I did and I can't change it now, and it's happened. But what I did take from it was that I needed to sort of assess and evaluate where I am and what I'm doing and why. And so what happened was, me and my two youngest, it was the last day, we were waiting to catch our flight. We were in a little like sort of town space that had like loads of really cool graffiti, so I was taking photos of the graffiti, and out of the like sort of, my two sons were sort of standing at the end of the little street that we walked into. I'll try and cut a long story short here and be as basic as I possibly can. And my youngest son just said out the corner of his mouth, like, Nazi. And so obviously I'm like, put my phone away and I'm like assessing the situation, and there's a guy standing at the end of like the street, and my head sort of goes, oh, Athena, please don't knock the camera over, darling, thank you. Why has he said that? And so I'm assessing and I'm looking at the guy, and there's nothing that I can sort of see. I don't want to like judge a book by its cover. Like, there's been a lot of times in my life where I've worn things and that people might have assumed I was a bad person, and I wasn't. But this guy was standing at the end of the street. He had like a shaved head. He was wearing like heavy metal clothes, so like a band t-shirt. Well, I didn't know what the t-shirt was, but I assumed because of the way that he had his jacket on, it was a band t-shirt. And his jacket had all like band patches on it, so that's why I assumed band t-shirt. And he was wearing like jeans and chains, and there was like some sort of like different badges that he had on. And I was sort of scanning, and he was holding his phone up, and he looked like he was filming us, but he wasn't, I found out. And so I'm like, why is my son called him a Nazi? And I'm like scanning all of his patches on his top, and but I'm not quite close enough to sort of, I can see like popular ones like Iron Maiden and stuff like that, and Motorhead. I can see those because those are quite recognisable. And as I'm sort of scanning this guy, he just goes, Kiyotara? And I'm like, come over here.
Me?
And I'm like, yeah. Like, bear in mind, we're in the middle of Italy, and I'm trying to figure out how this guy knows me. And he's like, Chiatara. I'm like, yeah. And he shows me his phone, and it's one of my videos playing on his phone. And so, like, the whole Nazi thing is sort of still there, obviously. I'm like still looking at that, and then I'm like, oh, okay, this guy watches my channel. So in my head, like, my brain has associated somebody watching my channel with, well, they can't possibly be a Nazi, right? I don't feel like I give out Nazi vibes. I don't feel like I give out any kind of far right or fascist vibes. And sort of, I'm still trying to figure out why my son has called him a Nazi. But at the same time, my brain's going, like, you're in the middle of Italy, and this guy is like watches your channel, and he just happened to walk past this street as you were on it. Like, that's weird. And when like events like this happen to me in my life, I see them as like sort of crossroads, right? And like, not necessarily that like this, it can go that way or that way and there'll be two different outcomes. Sometimes these crossroads have got like maybe caches of like skills like on them, where, you know, something happens and you can either go and get that thing out of it, or you can get that thing out of it, and maybe both roads lead to the same place, you know. And we've got little roads, we've got major roads, and then we've got big fuck off motorways, and maybe they are sort of like, you can either have this outcome or that outcome. And so when I'm in these situations, I try not to judge, and I try not to react, because responding and reacting are two different things. I find that when people are reactive, it comes from a place of being triggered, and when people, you know, judge, it's because they're not willing to see that there's a bigger picture, and that not everything is always as it seems. And, you know, sometimes in these situations as well, like, it's better to ask questions than it is to react and to just assume. And so I'm like analysing, I'm assessing, and I'm looking, and I see, and at this time he's still talking to me. He's like, oh my gosh, I've been following your channel for ages, and I love your videos, and oh my gosh. And he's Italian, so he's kind of speaking broken English. And where are you going? Yeah, not too far, please. So he's kind of speaking like broken English, and I think he can probably understand more than he can speak. But I've still, as well as listening, I've still got this background programming of like, why is he a Nazi? Why is he a Nazi? And like, so I've noticed that he's got like an iron cross belt on, right? But which is, you know, symbolism that's associated with Nazis. But I have, you know, I used to know a lot of people that were into heavy metal. I used to, you know, dress quite punky, and I used to do all the punk bands and the gigs and the activism and all the stuffs. And, you know, I am aware that a lot of people that dress, you know, in that outfit, costume, uniform, whatever you want to call it, because that's what it is, really. They take on like the symbol of the Iron Cross because of the aesthetics of it, I suppose. I don't know the history behind why heavy metal started using that. I'm not sure, because I've never really been into heavy metal. But I have known people that have used those sort of symbols and have not been Nazis, and have not been fascist, and have not been racist, and they're not even into politics. They just like metal. And so I'm like, I see the belt, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's why my son's assumed he's a Nazi. I'll have a word with him later, and I'll explain that some people that are into heavy metal, like, they like to use the Iron Cross. Just keeping an eye. And so he's got his phone out, and, you know, he's chatting, and he has a picture with me, and like, as he takes the phone off my son, because my son took the picture, and my kids were sort of like looking at me like, what the hell are you doing? Why are you having a picture with this guy? And as he takes the phone back off my son, his jacket sort of opens, and on it is just a full Nazi symbol with the eagle, with everything, the swastika. And I was like, oh. And my kids, we all know each other's face. So I've like looked at his top and gone, oh. And then I've looked at them and they've gone, see what we're trying to tell you? And I'm like, shit, what do I do with this one? I've just had a fucking picture taken with this guy. Like, why the fuck is he watching my channel if he's a Nazi? Like, this doesn't even make sense. Athena, this way, good girl. And so I can't, like, he's asking me questions like, where are you staying and all this stuff, and he's passed me the phone with like, where are you staying written on Google Translate, and I just respond like, oh, this is our last night, and I give him the phone and I just go, what's this about? Like, why are you wearing that? And go around the back, there we go. And he started saying like, oh no, this isn't my politics. I just really like, you know, Motorhead and all these kinds of bands. He starts pointing to his band patches, and I'm just really into heavy metal music. I'm a metalhead, and I just like the aesthetics of it. It's not my politics. I'm not a fascist. And like my brain glitched. I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't know, like, I felt like I'd asked, and I wasn't expecting that answer for somebody to be wearing a Nazi top and not be a Nazi. Probably, yeah. I even now, like, I'm thinking about it, I still got, my brain just goes bleh. And he's being really polite. He's being really friendly. He's like, he introduces himself to my children. Like, he shakes my hand, and he said he's not a Nazi. And I know, like, that, you know, a lot of people that have those views aren't open about it. But he's wearing the top. So it feels to me like he's not, like, I'm going through all of this stuff in my head in this moment. I mean, this must have lasted about 3 seconds, and my brain's going like a mile a minute. And anyway, so I'm asking him, like, what it is about my channel that he likes, because I'm like, okay, what's going on here? Like, how can this person watch my channel? I don't understand. I don't comprehend this. I don't get it. And he says, like, you know, I like your home life, and the way you live, and your style. You know, it's kind of disappointing, because, like, the way that I look has nothing really to do with anything. It's just a fleeting thing, but whatever. And then he sort of says things about, like, you know, the videos being, like, really positive and, like, spreading a good message. And so I reaffirm that and say, you know, I like to sort of spread a good message and making sure that people are free to be themselves and safe and, you know, empowered. And he's like, oh yes, he is beautiful and all this, and I can see that my children are visibly uncomfortable. And so I make excuses and we leave, and I'm like, you know, thank you for watching, which is, again, like, take the Nazi thing away from this. I went, like, to Italy, and there was a subscriber that I just didn't expect that. Nobody prepares you for that moment, where somebody that's been watching your channel and is like a fan meets you. Nobody prepares you for that. Nobody's prepared me for that anyway. And so, like, I'm quite, you know, socially sort of awkward anyway. And a lot of people will probably say, no, you're not. You only see the outside. What's going on inside is very awkward. I don't feel comfortable in social situations. I find them quite uncomfortable. I find them very unsettling. I find them very draining. I find, you know, I'd quite happily spend most of my life on my own. I don't enjoy being in crowded areas. I don't enjoy small talk, you know, and so I felt uncomfortable as it was. And so we made our excuses, we left, and, you know, that felt like that was going to be it. But then we saw him again in the town, and I was aware that my kids just wanted to sit and eat their snack, and so I didn't, like, sort of draw attention to the fact that I'd seen him. And then we walked around for a good hour, and we sat in a cafe near the bus station because we were going to get the bus to the airport. And we saw him again, and he walked past and he saw us, and he went into the cafe, bought himself a beer, and sat down at the table next to us. Now, my kids, for many, many reasons, struggle socially as well. I'm not going to get into their things and how they feel and all their sort of conditions and personality types, but they don't like to be intruded on, imposed upon. They like to just be themselves and do their own thing, a bit like me, really. They just like to do stuff on their own. They'll do it alongside other people, but they prefer to do their own thing, by themselves. And so they obviously were like, I could see on their face that they were not comfortable, and like I'd already had a conversation with a table full of like these like sort of black guys that were behind us. We'd already had a conversation, and that was sort of like nice. We'd had the brief exchange, and like asking for an ashtray and a lighter and stuff like that, and doing stuff. And anyway, so they were behind me, and this guy comes and sits down, and I know full well that he's got a Nazi top on, and I'm like, he's going to sit down and talk to me like he knows me, and he's wearing a Nazi top, and I don't want to be associated with that at all, because I'm very muchly not racist and anti-fascist, and don't agree with that politics, and I don't agree with trying to judge people on the way that they look, hence why I didn't want to judge this guy based on his t-shirt. And it was really, really difficult. It just, anyway, he sat down, he started talking to me again, he did the Google Translate, he was asking me about, things like, do you ever get any shit for your style and the way you dress? And I was like, I can't just have this conversation without mentioning the top again, like, and sort of, because when we'd had the original conversation, I said, that's not okay, like, to wear in England. You wouldn't be able to wear that without actually being a Nazi, it's just not okay. And I don't know whether he got what I was saying, or whether he got this, like, how like, much of a no that is. Like, I don't know if he got how strongly I was against his t-shirt, because I was trying to balance out, like, my kids were there, I was the only sort of responsible adult, we're in a foreign country, this is a man. I don't know how to sort of, like, I've expressed that, like, what the hell's that? And he's sort of done this happy, like, oh, no, it's like, it's just... and I didn't know what to do with that. Like, part of me wondered if I should have been like, well, what the fuck, dude? Like, oh, you think the aesthetics of genocide and mass torture and fucking murder is the aesthetics are cool? Like, I don't think so. Like, get the fuck off my channel. Like, or whether or not an open conversation that might change his mind about the choice of clothing that he wears might be more beneficial. Not that I'm, sort of thinking that I'm so special and important that I can go around changing people's minds and perspectives, but, I suppose we all have an impact on each other, and sometimes clashing is not helpful, whereas having an open conversation where people feel safe, you're more likely to sort of get them to question what they're doing and why. So yeah, I sat at the table, this guy was sat next to us, he was talking about the channel, and I mentioned his top, and I mentioned about how I'd done sort of anti-fascist work and done sort of activism, especially when I was younger, and that's why I was quite surprised to see, the top that you were wearing. And again, he reiterated, and these are not my politics, I'm just like really I'm just a metalhead, I absolutely love metal music, and I just love the aesthetics of the dress. And so in my mind, the part of me that knows that, this is all just a fucking illusion, and that, it's just, none of it technically exists, and we're all just here to experience in this 3D space. Part of me is like, well, does it fucking matter? Does what he wears matter more than, like, how he acts and who he is? And the human 3D part of me is going, that is just fucking wrong. Like, you can't be doing that. You can't be walking around with a fucking Nazi top on, like, unless you actually are a Nazi and you want to stand by your beliefs and be fucking seen for what you are. And I don't get that. I don't get presenting yourself as something that you're not. If you're not a Nazi, don't wear the top. He was quite young, so I don't know whether or not there's like a massive generational disconnect between the atrocities of what fucking happened during World War II, or what. I don't know. Whether he thinks it's just one big joke, wearing something from some past war that, he's got no connection to. no thoughts or feelings about, I don't know, fuck knows. But what I do know is that he didn't appear to be of that mindset. He didn't appear to be of a racist, fascist, Nazi mindset. He was talking about my latest music video, which was, I think, Be the Stone, which is talking about being, creating ripples and the importance of our sort of impact on people around us. And he was like, I'm a metalhead, but oh my gosh, I could listen to your music all day. It's really beautiful, and you've got a beautiful voice, and I just couldn't be in that moment without this background program running of like, my brain's glitching, this doesn't make sense, this is fucked up, this is weird, I don't get it. And so I kind of left that interaction feeling very self-reflective, as you can imagine. Did the whole, thank you for watching again, bye. It was weird. I wanted to think about the ripples that I'm sending out, and what is the reason for my videos. What am I actually achieving with these? Is what I'm saying and what I'm doing creating ripples? What kind of ripples am I sending out? What is it that I'm saying that thinks that this guy in a Nazi top thinks it's okay to like come and chat with me whilst he's wearing a Nazi top? Because I didn't feel okay with that. I felt very uncomfortable. Like I said, we don't always have to know what to do and say in a situation. We don't always have to know how to act. I had a lot of balancing to do in that space. A lot of consideration as well for like my kids. I mean, to be fair, it was quite nice that they noticed. Like they're aware of it. They're educated on it. They're like, that's just not okay. What kind of fucking idiot goes around in a Nazi top if they're not a Nazi? Like, that's just not right. And it made me want to step away from YouTube a little bit. And thankfully, like a lot of the things I was doing when I got home were already things I'd made videos about anyway. So there's still been a lot of foraging and a lot of storing and processing, but a lot of it is all like, plants and herbs and stuff that I've already made videos about. And so I just decided I'm going to take a step back for a little bit. I'm going to contemplate on what it is I want to be on YouTube for, because when I was already getting fed up of YouTube when I had this interaction, because of the content that is on it at the moment, I'm finding it increasingly difficult, like because I don't have sort of my watch history on or targeted adverts, because I don't like my phone being tracked and my usage being tracked. And I know they still track us anyway, but you can at least make it difficult for them by not signing away your fucking soul to Google and to YouTube and Facebook and Instagram. And I came off Facebook. I've never been on Instagram. I came off Facebook years ago, like years and years and years ago. I briefly attempted to go on it again about 4 or 5 years ago, because we moved county and my children were home educated, and within a couple of months I was like, nah, I can't be doing with this, I need to get off of it, it's horrid. So that didn't last long. Really, I was just trying to find some stuff for the kids, but it was so overwhelming that it wasn't useful to me. And when I started on YouTube, it wasn't like social media, and now it's like social media. It's become social media. It's become another form of social media, and I don't like it. And I started just wanting to post my music. That was the reason why I started my YouTube channel originally, and sort of wanting to just do music and poetry and creative sort of art videos. And then I found that because a lot of people, like when they were talking to me about my music, were asking me questions about being barefoot, or they'd see me out foraging, and stuff like that, and they'd ask questions, and I thought, oh well, instead of like me having to repeat myself, I'd be like, oh, just go on my YouTube, there you go, there's the thing, if you want to know about my story there. Because I don't like having to keep repeating myself and having to like spend my energy like sort of being stopped every 5 minutes to be asked questions about why I'm not wearing shoes, or why I'm like foraging plants, or why I'm in the bushes picking flowers or leaves. It just felt like an easier way of directing people. And also, like, I think I started doing it to empower people, you know, because I am aware that the way that I look and the life that I live is, you know, quite different from the way that other people live, and the way that other people look, and the way that they are, like my being, you know, the way that I just exist is different to a lot of people. And, you know, I thought, usually I find that when I have these conversations with people, it's not that other people don't want to live like this, or they don't feel the way that I feel, it's just that they're too scared to, or they didn't realise that there was another way. And so the videos became sort of a way of empowering people. Look at what you can do. Like, if you want to get out there, just go and do it. If you want to go and, you know, look at all this free food that's out there. Like, if you want to wear no shoes, wear no shoes. You know, if you want to wear whatever. And I suppose that's the thing with the Nazi top, right? Like, is it doing any damage? I don't know. I suppose part of me would say no. Part of me would say yes. And I'm always in this space of like, yeah, no. And, you know, if he's not going out and discriminating against people, I'm not playing with you. I'm making a video. Come over this way. Come on. There you go. You know, I suppose technically someone would say, as long as he's not physically hurting people, discriminating, and he doesn't think those ways, then he's fine. He can wear what he wants. But then other people would say, well, if there's, like, you know, people of colour, or, you know, people that might be different religions, like, you know, they could feel really unsafe in that space. And I know, I'm aware that Italy has, like, one of the I think the highest intake of Palestinian refugees. Like, would they feel safe with it in the space of a person wearing a Nazi t-shirt? You know, Nazis and neo-Nazis and fascists, it's not like they just go, oh yes, I believe these things. They actually actively can quite often go out and be very violent towards people just because of the colour of their skin. I've known quite a few people that have experienced violence and have ended up in hospital because of where they come from, the colour of the skin, their religion. And, you know, so if you're sitting next to somebody that's got a t-shirt like that, in the back of your mind, you're anticipating violence and aggression, I would say, and that's not okay. Everybody should be free from violence and aggression, everybody. And yeah, so that incident, it made me contemplate what my videos are doing and whether or not I'm putting my energy into them for the wrong reasons, you know. And while I took time to contemplate that, I decided to not bother, to just not bother. And, you know, I have wondered about maybe just doing some garden updates. Come out of the way. Because I know there's a lot of people that are quite interested in the garden and how it's been going, and it's been pretty cool. I've found some new things that I can, like, harvest. I've, you know, some cool sort of nightshade berries. Like, I don't panic, they're not deadly nightshade. It's like black nightshade, and I found out you can eat fuchsia berries. I didn't know that, and dahlias. So many different things that I've been learning about, and I've been out foraging, like, loads of stuff, making sauces and chutneys. Oh my god, the tomatoes are just, like, there's just so many of them. I actually fucked up a little bit because I didn't prune them enough, and now there's so much foliage that I can't prune them without damaging the plants or knocking the tomatoes. So, but yeah, the whole thing, it's just been, you know, I've been doing my thing, I've been performing, I've been writing music, I've been still barefooting, still foraging, still doing my herbal tea, still living the Kiyotara life. But I don't know if I want to be on YouTube, because as I was saying, I think I digressed, it's like social media now. You've got community tabs, and I kind of got into this, I got drawn into posting, like, which is like social media. And, you know, and now they gave me the option if I wanted a community thing where people could post on my page, and it was like, no, I don't want that. There's a reason why I'm not on Facebook. There's a reason why I'm not on Instagram. I don't want that shit. And now there's all other kinds of buttons, like hype buttons and boosts or stuff. I don't fucking know. As well as likes and thanks and then the content as well. Like, it is advert after advert after advert of fucking surveillance, like how to like track somebody using their phone number. I don't know if any of these adverts are true, but that shit's just fucking wrong. Like, as somebody that's had like my phone hacked and has been stalked, like being able to track somebody by their phone, if that is true, like being able to track them just by their phone number, what the fuck, man? Like, that's not okay. And the other adverts are all like overly sexualized, half-naked women, or AI dating apps, or far-right fucking videos, or AI videos. None of them are real, or it's all fake news, or it's propaganda, like, that's designed to be divisive, and it's designed to instill fear and hatred and fucking clickbait, and I'm sick of it. I'm fucking sick of it. And I just went, do I want to be part of this? Do I genuinely want to be part of, like, this shitty YouTube system? Like, I'm aware everything can be used for bad or good, but if I don't agree with something, why am I on it? You know? I've been trying to get away from like being on it, but then obviously if I'm commenting and I'm posting videos, and then I get drawn into the scrolling, the scrolling trap, of like trying to find a video that I want to watch, because I try not to subscribe to things either, and it's just, yeah, it's quite difficult. It's been quite difficult, like, for me to feel justified in posting on YouTube recently, and I just wanted to assess really what my content was going to be, and do I want to be on a platform that is, you know, is what always one is tracking everyone and what their usage is and what their data is, and, you know, and then trying to encourage people to be fucking divisive and hate fueled, and or it's all AI shit that it's not real. Got people questioning reality that they're watching. Do I want to be part of that? And I know some people go, yeah, but your videos, like, they're inspiring and they encourage people to get out and go foraging, and it's like, well, yeah, but there's only so many videos that you can watch of me foraging. You know, I don't want to encourage you to just sit and watch me do it. I want you to get out there and do it. Like, I don't want you to live, you know, to sit watching me live my life. I want you to get out there and live yours and do all the things. Like, how many videos can I possibly make saying, you know, just research it yourself, empower yourself with knowledge. That's what I do. Like, I've seen this plant, I Google it and I look up the pictures and I ask if it's edible, you know, and I cross-reference and I have a book, and, you know, there's loads of different ways. You can join a foraging group in your local area. The best way you can do these things is community-based, is to actually get out there, talk to real people, get off your screens, and actually do the things that you're watching. Don't just watch people do them, do them. And do I want to encourage people to sit on a screen? Hence why I said I'm very aware of the irony of posting this video. Do I want to encourage people to sit watching a screen about the things that they could be doing, when really, if you put the screen down, you could get out there and do them? So I had a bit of a moral dilemma. Good band, by the way. Moral dilemma. Yeah, I had a bit of a moral dilemma as to what to do with this channel. And so I've taken a step back. I'm not going to be posting for a while, unless it's music or poetry based. I have been writing a lot because I've not been editing videos. I've had a lot more time. I've been had a lot more time to sort of be off my screen. I don't like being on my screen. I don't like being on the phone. And obviously, if I'm editing videos, like, I'm always on the fucking phone, and I don't like it. If I'm answering people's comments, I'm on the phone. I'm on YouTube. I'm still in that trap. I'm in that little fucking energy drain trap of, like, oh, put all your energy into YouTube, and then you'll feel tired and shit, and then you won't want to do anything. Like, I don't want to be in that. I don't want to get drawn into that trap again. There was a reason why I came off social media, and it was because it was taking away my energy and my life, and it was making me unhappy. and now YouTube's making me unhappy and I don't like it, so I took control of it and stepped away. And like I said, the irony of posting the video, I suppose the reason why I wanted to post is, one, to give you a heads up so you don't think I've died. And, you know, just to maybe see, like, what other people's sort of thoughts are on, can you maybe dig over there? Thank you. Like, over there. Thank you. You know, if, you know, I suppose if other people are feeling like this and they're not knowing why they're feeling like this or what to do about it or how to feel about, you know, the events that are unfolding at the moment across the country and the division, and how that's impacting us and how social media is impacting us, and how quite a lot of the times people are just literally regurgitating fake statistics, fake news, fake somebody else's opinion. They've watched a video on it and then they go and say that opinion to someone else and take that opinion on as their own. And nobody's actually, well, not nobody, but a lot of people at the moment are not sitting and finding their own opinions and seeing how they actually feel about things. And so that's what I'm doing at the moment. I'm taking my time for myself. And I actively encourage anybody else at the moment that's feeling like the internet or social media is draining them, getting the tongue out of the camera, is, you know, feeling overwhelmed by it or drained by it or intimidated by it. I don't know, like, there's so many things you could feel about it that are negative. Like, I actively encourage you to just take a break, take a day a week if you can't, you know, I know that screens are addictive, like, we know this, we know screens are addictive, we know social media is addictive. Clickbait and fake videos, and then scrolling through comments that are like fucking just people trolling to get you to fucking comment, and it's all and I already knew all of this and I still got slightly drawn into the trap, and I don't want a part of it. I don't want any of that, and I know it can be used for good, but I don't think my thoughts and feelings on it at the moment are that I don't think that the benefits of the internet and social media outweigh the cons, really, at the moment. The way that it is, the way that it's changing people, and the way that they act, and the way that they interact, and the beliefs that they have. It's quite concerning. Makes me want to just go and run off and be in the woods. Into the woods I go. So, there you go. Thought I'd share my thoughts with you at the moment about what's been going on. And if you are here for anything but music, you know, I might not be posting anything again other than music. Really? I'm not sure yet. I'm still contemplating. I'm not saying no. I'm not saying never. I'm just allowing. I'm gifting myself the space to step away. I'm gifting myself the sacredness of my thoughts and my introspection, and instead of being influenced by the internet and other people, you know, I know that sometimes, you know, it's not always the internet as an entity, but other people that are on the internet, but even so, that can still influence, and I don't want to be influenced. I want to be me. I want to think and feel things that have come from me and my experiences, and not other people's. And yeah, and I suppose that's it for today. That's it for this video. Yeah, I hope you have a blessed day. Hope you feel at peace and you feel empowered and strengthened, and you know who you are and how you feel, and what your values are, and you stand by them. Yeah. And if you don't know, take time to question it, and take time to find out who you are, and find out what you think and what you feel and what you believe in and what your values are. Don't just regurgitate somebody else's crap. Don't live somebody else's life because it's yours. It's nobody else's. They can live their life. You live yours. I think that's a good place to end it. I love you so very much. Thank you for your patience. I know that there's been quite a few people that have emailed me. I really appreciate when people reach out to me personally, because then I'm not having to be on the internet. But please, just bear with me. I don't like being on my computer all the time, and I'm not very good at responding to people. I don't like to respond to people half-arsed or like half-hearted. So I like to be in the space where I'm ready to respond and I'm ready to reply, and I can give you my whole self and not just whatever, bye. Like, I like to be present in my communication and in my interactions. So if I haven't responded, please be patient. I will respond. And just thank you for being here. Thank you for being yourselves. And, for the people that have supported my music and my poetry and have turned up at my performances and, have taken on board the lyrics and the words that I've said. And, I thank you so very much. And, till next time.